In this video, we'll be looking at all the essential fundamentals and basics of how to transform any object or design element in Affinity easily. So without any further ado, let's get started. Now let's select our text first. And as soon as we select our text, you can see that the text is selected, which is represented by the blue bounding box that you can see after selecting the text. And let's say if we are selecting any other tools, we might not see the blue bounding box that has different transformation controls. So in order to get back the blue bounding box, all we can do is select the move tool first, and now we can see the blue bounding box. And after we have got the blue bounding box, you can see that there are different control points at the edge of blue bounding box. We have a control point at the corner, we have the control point at the top, bottom, right, left, as well as above the bounding box. So first of all, let's see what the control point on the right of the blue bounding box does. So if we click and drag the control point of the blue bounding box, you can see that we can scale the text proportionally. And if we drag it to the right, the text is now increasing in size proportionally. So what if we do not want to resize it proportionally? So in order to not resize it proportionally, all we can do is hold down the shift key and simply click and drag. And now you can see that it has not been resized proportionally. Now let me hold down the command key and press the Z key to undo it to its original position or original size. And the next thing is we can also hold down the command key in order to anchor to the center so that we can scale the text in reference to the center of the text, as you can see through the cross here at the center of our bounding box. And as soon as I release the command key, you can see that the cross here has now disappeared. Next, we can also transform by using the top corner point and simply click and drag to resize it like so, and simply drag it outside again to resize back to its large size. And if you hold down the command key again, you can again see that there is a cross here that has appeared at the center of the text. And as soon as we click and drag again, you can see now that our text is proportionally resizing. Now I'll leave it as it is, and next, in order to rotate the text, all we can do is navigate up to our point above our bounding box and simply click and then rotate it like so. And now if we want to maintain the constraint of our rotation, all we can do is hold down the shift key and then drag it in order to maintain the constraint of our text like so. And we can also rotate by simply targeting or pointing to the offset of the corner point and then dragging it like so. And if we hold down the shift key, then you can see that the constraint is being maintained while we drag our text. So this is basically how the transform works with each individual corner points of the selection box or bounding box. Next, we can also skew or shear our text as per our liking with the corner point. So if you hover over the offset of right, left, top or bottom corner points, then you might be able to see this particular icon of arrows. And if we click and drag it like so, now we can also shear or skew our text as per our liking. So I'll undo it by holding down the command key and pressing the Z key. We can also navigate at the top of our top corner point, and as soon as we get this icon, we can click and drag to shear or skew our text as per our liking. So I'll again undo it by holding down the command key and pressing the Z key to bring back the text to its original dimension. Next, we have the transform panel right here. So let me bring the transform panel outside, and in the transform panel, you can see that we have many different options. So let's say we have skewed the text to something like this, and we want to bring the text to its former position. All we can do is we can input different values, or we can change different values to bring our text to its former position. So to do that, let's bring our skew value to 0 degrees and hit enter. And as soon as we did that, our text has come back to its former position or size. And let me bring back to its former position in the canvas. And now let's explore all the options that we have in Transform Box. So in Transform Box, the first option that you can see right here is the anchor point option. That is, we can set the anchor point in any point of our selection. So we can set the anchor point in the bottom middle. As you can see here, we have clicked at this point, and now if we try to rotate it, you can see that it is rotating the text as per the reference of the anchor point that we have just set, which is the bottom middle. And if we want to bring back our rotation to its former position, all we can do is set the value of rotation back to 0 like so, and now our text is back to normal. Similarly, we can also change the anchor point to somewhere at the middle, and now if we change the rotation value, you can see that it is rotating with the reference to the point in the center. And to bring it back again, let's give the value of rotation to 0. And similarly, we can also change our anchor point to bottom left corner and adjust the value of the skew like so. And you can see now it is skewing or shearing our text with reference to the bottom left anchor point. Now let me undo it again to bring our text back to its normal size. Now after we have set our text to its original position, let's default our anchor point to the top left by clicking on the top left point. Moving on, now let's select all of our donut element that you can see here on our design by holding down the shift key to group select them all. So let me first of all select this donut and hold down the shift key and select the other donut, and again select the other donut. And after selecting all the donuts, we can also transform or scale them in a group. And to do that, we can simply use the control handles similar to how we use them with the text. So if we want to scale them, we can simply click on this handle and simply drag it like so. However, in contrast to the text, we have to use the shift key to resize it proportionally like so. And if we want to rotate it, we can also navigate up to our control points at the top and simply click and drag to rotate it. And we can also skew our donut in group by simply hovering at the offset of the corner point that you can see here and simply clicking and dragging to skew its size or shear its size like so. Let me undo it again to bring back to its original position and size. Now what if we want to transform the donut photos or donut element individually? So in order to do that, all we can do is navigate up to this particular icon and click it. And as soon as we click it, you will see that one of the donut element among other donut element will be highlighted with the selection or the bounding box. So now if we rotate this particular donut, you will be able to see that each individual donut will also rotate separately like so. And if we resize it, each other individual donut will also resize it like so. And if we shear or skew it, the other donut will also shear or skew proportionally or at the same time like this. So let me undo it and bring it back to its original size and form. Next, what if we do not want to transform each donut separately in reference to this particular donut, but with this donut? So to do that, we need to change our nomination object. So in order to change the nomination object, hold down the option key and press on this particular donut. And now you'll see that our selection box has appeared for this donut. And now we can transform this object similarly and change the proportion or the size and position of other objects like so. And now we can transform this particular nominated object and then change the size of other objects separately like so. So let me undo it once again. Now moving on, let us select the other object, which is this star element that you can see here. So let me zoom in first, and in the star element, when we scale the size of the star proportionally, you will see that the stroke width of the star will also proportionally shrink in size as soon as we gradually increase the overall shape What if we want to make the stroke width of the star proportional when we scale this star to its biggest size? So in order to do that, first of all, make sure that you select this star and then click on this scale override icon. After selecting or clicking on this scale override icon, make sure that the line weights option is also checked because we want the stroke weight to be proportional when we increase the size of the star. So let me click somewhere outside to get rid of that box, and now let us scale the size of the star. So let me navigate up to the top right and simply click and drag by holding down the shift key. Now you can notice that after we have scaled up our star, the stroke width of the star will be proportional when we scale up the overall size of the star. So this option basically overrides the different properties like effects, stroke width, when we scale or resize our design element. So let me bring the star back to its normal position like so by undoing it. Now these are all the essential fundamental things to know while transforming any design element or objects in Affinity. So if you find this video helpful, please click on the like button, and to get more tips and tricks related to Affinity, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching this video and see you on the next video.